Mid-December 2025 with the Lovelocks of Sunninghill. Rough cut photo trails and video clips. I might put a few pictures and things at the front as a bit of a flavour of what follows in this long video. But less than 2 minutes of clips and photos to whet your appetite. Yes, that's me riding that reindeer that escaped from Lapland. So I was riding it back through Swinley Forest to get it back to its owners. And is that AI, they say? I don't know. Better ask Juba about that. He'd sent me the clip. I thought it had happened. He showed me other stuff as well. Yeah, that was live. Doesn't look like me, does it? A bit. Anyhow, as I say, blame Juba. Of course, set in various places like Arancini in La Sorrentina. Showed them the shoes that I'd bought earlier that day at Thames Hospice. My cover story were there for the flatulent fairy, but of course I got to show them to everybody. They're a bit of a tight fit for me. Cricketers was one of the places I went with my grumpy old friends. I had the curry. And of course lots of hard work at home, including on Homer and the flatulent fairy. Eating in the flame kebab, my usual cheeseburger, and of course visits to the Comrades Club with Ryan and Charlie, and yes, work on the Homer, and yeah, good progress there. And Bentley keeping an eye on things. He was sat on the washing machine, I think. And of course things you see in the village. Let's start with a standard introduction. This is where we live, at 22 Armitage Court. Sorry about the dustbins, haven't been put away yet. Just here, at so-called Robin's Corner, where GPS was tested from the late 1980s, down at this spot. And there's the garden sculpture that June gave Robin for a present a few years ago now. Yes, you'll see more of Homer and the flatulent fairy soon. There's the robot boat. There's the oak tree. Not so many leaves on it now, that sprung up from an acorn, whenever that was. I think it was about the time we moved in, 1980, full time. So, coming round to Homer, yes, he's been going up every year for many years now, and I made a modification to the, it's on the bottom end of the photo trail, but basically a different solution for the fan. And this is very important. The flatulent fairy, she needs a bit of tidying up. There's the lovely high-heeled shoes that I got that's on some of the photo trails. There's another one round here. Oh, there's her other foot. Yeah, so she needs to be arranged a little better. But yeah, she's quite attractive, isn't she? On her own Christmas tree. And a few things have got to be adjusted, like the lights inside Homer and everything else, but we're getting there. This is Snoopy's robot boat. Haven't had any chance to do any work on that for practically years now with Snoopy the Viking, but it's all on the Snoopy page. The outstanding problems to be fixed before we go for another transatlantic attempt. So, coming down, yes, this is June's car. Promotion of the website, gpss.co.uk, which was a business many years ago, decades ago, but is now hobbies like the robot boat and little projects and charitable causes. So carry on down here. Yes, this is the same old boring routine people would have seen before. My bicycle I haven't had a chance to use. This is a few more lights now. June's been putting more Christmas lights up because they come up better at night. Repairs needed on the cat forts, they occasionally make use of, and it's not just fierce cats you've got to worry about, it's armed mice. But we've got warning signs everywhere, beware of the mouse, which of course should be mice. So carrying on round to the front. Oh yes, June's camper. Might arrange the power to go out from that to Homer. And battle damage. June said Robin did it. Robin said the wall did it, but the wall is okay. And of course, we don't want to change any of that because it would decrease the value of the camper. Right, getting close to the front door. Yes, junk from, well, including those were the fans inside, and I didn't need all four. Just one is enough inside it. Silly, that's all, the details are there. So cameras everywhere, and the first thing we have to do is read out warning signs for health and safety for anybody who encroaches on the property. And I must add, these are all jokes, because people will say, oh, you daren't say that. So first of all, CCTV, hidden TV cameras inside and outside this house. Sound and video is monitored in local houses and elsewhere. No trespassing. Violators will be shot. Survivors will be shot again. Yeah, lots of cameras. There's one. You wave to the camera. And yes, this is probably the most important set of signs over here. Oh, the wind's decided to open the door, or was that something automatic opening the door? Don't know. Anyhow, before we dare go in, that's my study through there, and it says do not disturb. I'm disturbed enough already. But this sign is probably the most important because it's not just cameras you've got to worry about. Home of mad ex-NATO scientist Robin Lovelock. Beware of web cameras and water squirters loaded with water, paint, acid, DNA tracer or nerve agent. Robin would not be mad enough to test these, or would he? Just a joke, of course. Right, it's welcoming us in. Oh, here's one of the guard cats. This one is ours, Toady, although they say dogs have owners and cats have staff. I'm a member of Toadie's staff, aren't I, Toadie? Okay. No hurting anybody. Don't want anybody to get hurt here, okay? That's it. You're going to check things out? Okay. I think I dare go into the house. You can see decorations up everywhere because June's been very busy. And so this is the big breakthrough, and June, with help from Samantha, managed to clear what she regards as her dining table. But of course, there's a half-size snooker table under there, so it might be possible to have banquets or something in this room nearer Christmas, perhaps. So quite a transformation. And of course, the name of the game is putting things in the right place so you can find them. Right, I'll go briefly into the kitchen at great risk. Hello, June. Just doing a little, she's doing something very important on her smartphone. Probably, what's that? And something important?
No, just checking messages.
No, messages. Yeah. Probably to do with tennis, I expect. Right, so we're going into the lounge. And yes, Christmas tree there. Closed circuit TV station. Quite a good view of people coming to see Hober and others. One camera's failed, that was working, and it's on the photo trail. But, right, here's my diary and other things. We're going to go out in the garden. Yeah. Coming up to 20 to 12. Yes, I'm tracked everywhere. We all are, but no government will tell us that. Right, going out. Yeah, my usual routine each day is I come out, yes, you can see the time, and take a look at the temperature. And if it comes out there, yes, you can see that 10 degrees centigrade, quite reasonable. And just for doing this intro, I'm knocking things over, it's a bit of a state. Yes, little peeing boys and things. They're blocked up. Needs to be fixed. Remind me of my trips to NATO at Brussels. One of the 4 candle projects, and the pond has been filled up in order to see basically what it looks like when it's full. But the pond needs to be fixed, so probably after Christmas we'll have another go at clearing some of it. So I'm coming down the garden. A quick look round the corner. This is June's junk heap and her greenhouse. Yes, sorry about the politically incorrect decoration on the water, but that's where the cats can come in and out, and that's where we keep materials around the side, and that's where the tap can be switched on and off, and it's still on at the moment. So I'm now going to go down the garden. Lots of tidying up. Leaves are the easy bit, relatively speaking. There's the telescope. Did the optics for that when I was a boy, still at school. No chance to do any work on that, of course. When we do, probably put a smartphone on it so that people can look at a TV monitor. Coming down the garden. Yes, that's a little bit better for coming down. To the sundial. Lots of leaves everywhere, but not as many as there had been. Workshop area through there. This is the important bit. Yeah, second pond. So the water comes off the roof into the first pond, overflows down into the second pond, and that overflows. And because I've left the tap running, it is actually overflowing down. It hasn't got very far yet, but it overflows in another little stream. Of course, all these leaves have to be unblocked, and this is the so-called Pond 3 or bog reservoir. Is that the right name? Not sure. Yes, another 4 candles project, and lots of bird feeders. There's 5 of them altogether. So I haven't topped those up this morning, but they usually need a top up. Another one over there. So you will have seen all this repeated in a very boring way on the photo trails. Yes, so lots of bulbs have been planted and they're starting to come up now. But the key thing is, this is a lovely place to sit, and of course, because there's sun getting through, because branches have been cut back, more things can grow in this area, including a bank there where I'm sure we have primroses and things. Speaking of primroses, there was a good use made for my old tatty shoes, a plant container. And along, yes, very confusing this, I know. This is where we've got lots of room for putting things like leaves and twigs and things, and this is where we keep the bird feed, peanuts and other stuff. So I'm working my way around. So this is a recce for somebody might like to help with garden maintenance in the broadest term. So one of the things are, where can you dump things? Well, right, leaves and things can go obviously up there. There's junk there, but some of that junk might be useful. Certainly things like ladders. And inside this shed, there's some tools like the leaf blower that was used not that long ago, within the last week, I think, might be 2 weeks. And there's a chainsaw. And yes, not bothering to lock it, because as I've said many times, anybody decides to come in to steal anything will be a bit of an idiot, really. But there are idiots around, of course. Right, now, supposing you're going to mow the lawn and probably clear the leaves out first, where are you going to find the tools? Well, right, the place is round the side of the summer house. So there's a fly mower, lawnmower, there's a strimmer, other various tools here. That's an electrical, or both of them electrically. So where you're going to get the electricity, come round the other side of the summer house, so-called Robin's laboratory. Might get a glimpse of that in a minute. Coming into the workshop area. So there we go. There's an extension leader. There's power. There's power in several places. Here's places to put tools. The workshop area, complete with a vise. A lot of work still needed. Putting tools in the right places so they can be easily found. Got no lack of space. So, for example, as I've said many times, hammers in the same place, files, clamps, spanners, and so on. And then a few garden tools there. Odds and ends, screws. So a lot of tidying up needed. Not a lot around there, I don't think. And we may as well pop into the summer house, which Robin calls his laboratory, and we've started to put some of the stuff in here so at least we know where it is, like useful junk, e.g. electrical, Halloween stuff, that's more recent robot boat stuff with bits and pieces. Yes, occasionally if I attend a military place, I don't like to be outranked. Yes, Snoopies, of course. So that TV stuff and computer stuff is not switched on. Not sure if that's the correct time. Yeah, it's not far out. Yes, small robot boats. Oh, they'll work, but not really suitable for an Atlantic crossing. Right, I think I can safely get out now without falling over. I think we've shown you most of the stuff now. It's on the same boring photo trails, which, as I've said before, people can regard as a recce of the property, and of course a very practical way of people seeing what work needs to be done or where to go for tools to do the work. I didn't point up there, plenty of scope to cut more branches off. So I'm about to go into those long photo trails for what is about a week of photos and clips. So we're going to those long photo trails now. Sunday the 7th of December 2025. Starting with that photo of Bentley in the utility room. June pointing me out to him, and yes, looks like he was going to help with the washing. Anyhow, here's the photos in the order shot, starting at about what that was, 10 to 11, and out into the garden, usual routine, checking the temperature, coming up to 10 degrees. Photos starting around the top pond, working their way down the garden. Just a snapshot of what things were like, no real change, and of course topping up the bird feeders is part of the procedure, so that was before and that was after topping up all 5 of them. Shots looking up at the sky. Yeah, plenty of scope for more branches to be cut back. Yeah, it's all boring stuff, same old routine, but you never know, occasionally something is different. Back into the house after looking at all that overgrown stuff, and into the lounge, and 2:15 now in the afternoon. And what else? Oh, June looks as though she's rustling up lunch and watching tennis just for a change from another place in London. Oh, there's the photos of Bentley in the utility room. Hello, Bentley. Checking things out. Right, looks like I'm off down to the village, I suspect. Probably lunch. past Homer and down the main road into the 20 zone, past the Comrades Club, into the Blend and Brew, across the road. Yes, I saw the Burgesses were there, just caught there on camera. And then where next? Comrades Club probably. Yes, going there. Christmas decorations are up, of course. Sat and relaxed there. Yes, bit of a doze for a little while, and because I'm making my way back, wasn't too wet. There's Homer, bit deflated, needs work on him. Tennis still on the television. Yeah, what was that, 20 past 5 in the evening. And that was, not sure what that was now, from memory. I don't think we had a power cut then. That was closed circuit TV playing up. Yes, making a guess at when the upload to YouTube. Oh yeah, that was that camera that had not been working for, well, months I think. Started working, but I had all those numbers on the screen. And I made good use of the one of the packages. But anyhow, looks like it's off to the village to eat, I suspect, at this time of the evening. So, yes, past the Comrades Club. And where is it tonight? La Sorrentina, perhaps? Yes. There's my glass of Pinot Grigio and Tricolore, because there was no arancini on that night. So, now into the Comrades Club with their Christmas tree. Yes, it was quite quiet there. And right, back home to 22 Armitage Court, and the rather deflated Homer. Oh, and Toady waiting for me. Hello, Toady. 10:15. Oh yes, so that is coming along a bit faster. Yes, so in fact the processing had been done quicker than I'd estimated. So time for bed, but in fact the video was up next day. So that's the end of the photo trail. Monday the 8th of December 2025. As I said before, I love that bit of sculpture outside the locksmith in the village, and Ascot Locks. And here's the photos in the order shot. Yes, the video was on YouTube and processing a video for the next day, and here's the usual routine of going down at temperature 12 degrees, getting a record of what the garden was like at that time on that day. Might possibly be of use for property maintenance in the broadest sense. Saves time. And yes, that was not so much me being puzzled, but it was drizzling with rain, so I was getting a little bit damp going down doing that photo trail. And of course the important bit was topping up the bird feeders, all 5 of them. So coming back up to complete the photo trail, not much different for some days now. And yeah, onto the patio near the top pond, and yes, into the lounge, and yes, that's the video for the previous day complete. And there's Toady decided to prowl around out the front. Yes, the flatulent fairy is now on the pole. when it's finished, it'll look as though not so much on a pole but on the Christmas tree. And it looked okay on the closed circuit TV as well. And then I explained to Samantha.
Motion detected at your front door.
Oh, sorry about that. It was June, just come back from the dentist. I was explaining to Samantha what work needs to be done in case she was able to do some of it herself. Looks like I'm off to the village. And being the middle of the day, I'm sure that is in order to eat. So it wasn't too wet. And yeah, past the Comrades Club with its Christmas tree up, and into the middle of the village, into the Blend and Brew. Oh yes, yeah, you can pause that if you want to see the details. They won something. Yes, there's my usual enjoyable meal. And looks like I'm making my way back. Probably waited till the rain came on a bit heavier, so I was waiting for some time. Then went into the Comrades Club. Yeah, there's Billy. Yes, and I found out that he remembers father-in-law Jack Ponsford's party in 1943, coming back from the prisoner of war camp in the war. Yeah, a few snaps around the Comrades Club. Yeah, motor racing at one point. I had a bit of a doze, but not for very long. And where next? Well, it's getting late, so maybe down to the village to think about eating. And yes, just a few snaps. What the village is like. A lot of them got decorations up into the Raj Fuge. And had my usual onion barges and a small glass of Pepsi Cola, I think that was. So now making my way back, and we're getting close to where I would have shot that picture of Ascot Locks and the bit of sculpture. Carrying my journey back, into one stop, picking up a bit of cash, making my way back to the Comrades Club. Into the Comrades Club and relax there. Yeah, time to go home by the look of it. And yeah, back to 22 Armitage Court. Yes, home is very deflated. That's on the list of things to do when those fans arrive. And yeah, so back into the lounge. Yes, anybody could see where Robin was, and then he got back. And there's Toadie, decided to join. I think that's yes, with June. Oh, got a call from Paul. That was good. And yes, so generally relaxing, time for bed, and that's the end of the photo trail. Tuesday the 9th of December 2025. Perhaps the most important event was buying those shoes. Yeah, the cover story where they were for the Flatulent Fairy. Bought them from Thames Hospice before going into the Blend and Brew, and of course they sparked conversations wherever I went, including the Comrades Club and La Sorrentina. Anyhow, here are the photos in the order they were shot. 12:15 in the afternoon, processing a video for the day before, while I walk out and do the usual check. So just above 11 centigrade temperature, quite pleasant really. And yes, usual thing, checking the garden, see if anything's changed. No, nothing's changed, same boring thing of course, but sometimes it's useful to go back and check afterwards. Compare it with something perhaps. Oh, that's topping up the bird feeders, yes. There's me whittering on. Usual important job, 5 bird feeders to top up. Looking up, yeah, record of branches. Still more could be cut back to expose more sky and sunlight. Lots of work. I mean, tidying up leaves is a minor thing. But one thing at a time. Yes, just a record of same pattern really, going back up. Yes, going along to the patio, near the top pond. You see those plants are getting to the stage of being able to cut them back and dump them prior to work on the pond, but that probably won't be for another month or two. Into the lounge, processing of the video for the day before, and yeah, putting a commentary on it like I'm doing for this one. Yes, I love that bit of sculpture. And yes, the women, that's apparently an ice cream maker that June got, and she decided that was the right place. And yes, David sent me that, and I looked it up. You can freeze it to find the details of that nickname that the Guardian newspaper was given. Right, looks like I'm thinking of going down to the village, almost certainly to eat, past a deflated Homer, work needed on that, but we've got the bits, and walking down to the village. And I think the first thing I did, going past the Comrades Club of course, and a few other places in the middle of the village, past the Blend and Brew, over the railway and into Thames Hospice, and that's where I got those shoes. Very sensible price, and I might as well say £8 for the pair. And now on my way back, yes, Blend and Brew, and yes, I made sure they were quite prominent so people might be interested where they were going. My lovely food there, of course. They got a Christmas tree now, but they haven't got a fairy on it yet. I did suggest they get a big fairy like ours. Right, looks like I'm going back into the Comrades Club now. I was saying go back in, this is the first time in the day. Yes, my shoes are put out prominently on display. And yes, it's a bit later now. I obviously spent some time in there. Now, yes, in Sorrentina, and a lady said, no, you're not allowed to put the shoes on the table. So we found alternative places. I had my usual 3 arancini. That's them cut up. And yes, showing off the shoes. And where next? Oh, Comrades Club, I expect. And so going to the Comrades Club. In fact, I did have a game of pool there. There's no photos of it, but there is a photo right at the end of the trail that Adriano sent on the same day. They're right at the end of the photo trail. So I'm getting back home at 22 Armitage Court. There's deflated Homer, but he just needs the fans to be fitted in him. So back into the house. June's watching some drama or other. There's the fans, they had arrived. So there's 4 fans, 12 volt, and a pattern of those is just the job, I think, to put in where the old fan had been. Yes, bit of work on the newsletter. Time for bed, and here's the photos that Adriano had sent. Yes, so that's the end of the photo trail. Wednesday the 10th of December 2025, starting with me riding that reindeer that had escaped into Swinley Woods from the Lapland area. Yes, you'll see a bit more of that later, and you can blame Juba for AI clips like that. Yes, now into the photos in the order shot. Usual procedure, 10 to 12, temperature 11 degrees. Usual tour of the garden just to see if anything has changed, which it hasn't really. And yes, making my way down the garden just as a record of what it was like on that day. Yes, much the same as previous days. And of course, one of the chores is the peanut feeders, or rather bird feeders, have to be topped up. That's the box where this bird feed's kept. So top up all 5 feeders and make my way back. Yes, lovely blue sky, and there's the branches above, so one can say, perhaps a few more of those can be trimmed back, expose more sky. And there's the second pond. Gradually working my way back up and onto the patio. Yes, lots of tidying up needed of all sorts of things. And about to go into the lounge. Yes, so that's pretty well it. And that's the fans, 4 fans, and that looks a reasonable assembly to go into Homer to replace the big old one, and that took a little while getting that out. Matter of finding the right drill bit. Fingers crossed. Put things back in the right place, including the electric drill with its bits. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Put things in the right place. And that picture got rotated. That shows me switching the power off that went out to the extension, because we were running everything from mains power, and the idea is to get it running off just batteries. A lot safer, and in many ways it might be simpler. So I put the flatulent fairy in the games room so work can be done on it. There's lots of work. Wig was slipping, lots of things, the high heel shoes to be put on. So that's, yes, June pointed out the Saracocca, I think it had come into flower, and she could start smelling the lovely smell from it. So we're off now, because all to do with Homer and the flatulent fairy. We're going round to Screwfix, so I could pick up 1 or 2 things there. She noticed that you can get 12-volt batteries, small ones, not great big heavy car batteries. And I didn't get the crocodile clips there. They didn't have them in stock, so we went round into the middle of Ascot and to Ascot Hardware, and sure enough, Poiter had exactly what I was looking for, so I came away with those, made her way back through Sunninghill, and then she dropped me off at the library because there was supposed to be a meeting of the police PCSOs there, and that's what the emails had said. And of course emails often have mistakes even within the email. Anyway, I spent a nice bit of time chatting to Cliff there, and I can say now that an email came through to say that that meeting was today. But anyhow, back through the village, over the railway, because I'm walking now, and yes, Christmas decorations are up. And where next? Into the Comrades Club. Yes, relax there. And very quiet at the time I went in. And I'm not sure whether it was then. I had a doze, yes. And I think I might have had an hour of sleep during the time I was in the Comrades Club. It was quite late. You see, it's got dark. So I'm thinking, where am I going to eat? Why not in the flame kebab? Yep, so I go in there, had my usual cheeseburger and onions, and I got a strange phone call, but that quite separate. Tuba was then showing me the things that could be done, which I was amazed. And that's where that clip came from. But, right, where next? Well, probably the Comrades Club. And of course, there was a Christmas quiz on, and I ended up joining it, just me, and I was sat adjacent to the Jolly Johnsons, and so we marked each other's scores, and of course very enjoyable. And then the big surprise was that it turned out I got £15 prize for becoming bottom. If I'd have known, I needn't have worked so hard. So a bit more time relaxing before deciding, well, I better go home. At least I think I'm going home. Yes, that looks as though I'm going home. That's going in the right direction. Yes, coming back to where we are at 22 Armitage Court. Yes. Because the girls have put up a few more of the lights, including on the Christmas tree that the flatulent fairy is going to go on top on. And yes, so it's gradually beginning to take shape. June's watching something on the TV, and anybody could see where Robin was on his tracker. Oh yeah, hard work, hard day it was. Time for bed, and that's the end of the photo trail. Thursday, the 11th of December 2025. The farting fairy is, beg your pardon, flatulent fairy is up the Christmas tree next to Homer. Both need work done. Now the photos in the order shot, starting at 10 to 11 in the morning. Processing of the video for the day before. Yes, out into the garden, temperature 8 degrees centigrade, not too bad. Yes, usual boring photos, but can be useful for anybody who's going to help with garden maintenance, like just seeing exactly what sort of work needs to be discussed and then done. We're making our way down, yes, past the Gunner Manticata, and yeah, lots of leaves still. So, topping up the bird feeders, that's one of them, and after being topped up, all 5 of them topped up. And what's that? Looks like a fox has left a present. Have to decide what to do with that. Looking up, yes, blue sky and branches that could still be cut back to give more light. Making my way back up the garden, and yes, past all the usual things. It saves a lot of time having to actually come round and recce the place, doesn't it? And yes, untidy patio area. Into the lounge, and that's that video still processing. Yeah, June's put the Christmas tree up in there, out into the front, and yeah, sorting out the 12-volt supply. Looks like, yes, we're off to pub lunch with Stuart as chauffeur. So, down the A30, past Hallgrove School, and into the Cricketers. So, yes, I like it, the chain. Yes, Christmas trees and presents out there. Enjoyed our food. There's a record of what we ate. So enjoyable conversations there, and that's Mike, Richard's mate. And then back out. Bit blurred, that one. That one obviously went off by accident. And to the Windmill pub, where we turn left for Sunninghill. Past the Berristeed, into Armitage Court, and then we're going in there for coffee afterwards, but I did my usual thing and popped home for 5 or 10 minutes for things like emails that had come in and other odds and ends. Yes, there's Homer. Yes, looks like his batteries run flat, and Samantha came out. It was either that or stuff had shifted, so it's good. Samantha did a bit of work on it. I found out afterwards that the pump was, the fan was upside down when June and Samantha had done work on it. No wonder it was deflated, pumping the air out. Right, there's the track. Anybody could see where Robin was, including time at the Cricketers when they got back home. Just here, 22 Armitage Court, although I'll be soon walking across the road. So, yes, across the road to Richard and Faye's, just up there. Past the rather deflated Homer. So, spent time in there, and then back out. And what work have I got to do next, I wonder? Well, Homer's on the list. Yeah, very deflated. And go back into the house. Yes, the women are doing whatever they're doing. Looks around with more Christmas decorations by the look of it. Yeah, look at them all over the place. Oh, goodness me, what a mess. Right, So, where next? Oh, well, the flatulent fairy needed work. Yes, I put the high-heeled shoes on her that I'd got whenever it was, a couple of days earlier. And that seemed to be good, and tidied up her cosmetics. Yeah, look at those lovely shoes. So she's getting ready to go up onto the tree. Dark by then, of course. So, yes, still more work needed, but we're getting there slowly. Yes, that got rotated by the smartphone, checking voltages, and then Tony decided to join us, or join June in the kitchen. Right, I reckon I'll be thinking of going down to the village soon, but yes, that's what I'm thinking of. And they're watching whatever the rubbish is on the TV, so I'm off down to the village, past the Comrades Club, and probably into the flame next to Tesco. Yes, that's where I went. Yes, my usual cheeseburger, onions, and enjoy the time there, and then into the Comrades Club. Force myself to relax in there, and occasionally chat to somebody, or just, yeah, there was darts on the TV, on one of the TVs. Yeah, time to come home. Weather was quite reasonable. Yes, back to 22 Armitage Court with Homer and the fairy guarding the premises, and quite a lot of lights. That looks like June's got the that illuminated wreath up, and there's Toadie and June watching something or other on TV. Into the lounge. Yes, anybody could track Robin. Yes, Toadie decides to join me. Time for bed, and that's the end of the photo trail. Friday the 12th of December 2025, and that was the significant photo taken after the women got back from tennis, so we can put that in our newsletter after it's been zoomed and cropped and things to fit the page. So now into the photos in the order shot, starting with the women getting ready for tennis, me looking at power for checking out the new arrangements for Homer. So the women are off for tennis, and yes, that's the 12 volt batteries we've got the day before, I think. So they're off, and I use the opportunity to take a few snaps around the garden, including of Snoopy's robot boat and a rather deflated Homer, checking voltages. Yeah, look at that, 1.99 volts. That new battery wasn't fully charged, so it was all about charging those new batteries that had never been charged since we got them. Right, coming up to midday, temperature 10 degrees centigrade, not too bad. Out for the usual process, interrupted by Toadie arriving and prowling around the patio table, but one of those photos of him weren't too bad. That one, quite like that. So then carry on. Yes, primroses are out, seem to be out most of the year, and right, making my way down the garden. One chore is the 5 bird feeders to be topped up, but of course I'm using the opportunity to get a snapshot of the garden on that day. Lots of leaves to be cleared up, not as many as there had been a little while ago. Oh yes, look at those primroses in flower in my new flower pot, my old tattered shoes. So that's around the pond, looking up at the sky. Yeah, a bit overclouded, but you can see where some branches could still be trimmed back to get more sunlight down there. Yeah, so in that process I would have topped up the bird feeders. Perhaps I didn't show the detail of that, doesn't matter. So making my way back up to the patio area near the top pond. Yes, lots of untardiness. Look at those grapes. There's one still there. Still, this is food for the birds. into the games room, through into the lounge. Yes, that processing is pretty well done, I think. Oh yes, the women are on their way back, looking at the tracker, and so they're about to arrive. I get out there just as they're arriving, and of course he planned to get a photograph of us, and we ended up using June's phone. She managed to prop it up in the right place and get that picture, which wasn't too bad. And that's it on her phone. Fingers crossed that would be suitable, and I think it was. So back into the house, and I'll go back there. Oh yes, and there's the newsletter starting to take shape with that photo in it. Well, it's not too bad. Now I'm thinking of taking a walk down to the village, I would imagine, and looking at the time, that's probably going to be a late lunch. So past the flatulent fairy, up on her Christmas tree. Oh yes, oh dear, look at that, a dead squirrel. I wonder what got that. Yeah, I need to look that up. So into the village, and past the Comrades Club, into the Blend and Brew. Usual enjoyable time in there, including the meal and coffee. There's my usual. And then where next? Well, probably along the road. Oh yes, that's that fence still knocked down on the corner, number 1, Jarder's Lane. Into the Comrades Club and relax there. Oh, looked like I had a horse racing on from GCHQ. Sorry, from Cheltenham. And what else? Oh, looks like I'm off back home now. Probably thought, oh, some more work to do. Obviously, after sunset there. And yeah, there's Snoopy's robot boat with Snoopy the Viking at the front. There's the deflated Homer. Hopefully when we've sorted the fan and everything, or fans, he will be his suitable plump self. Right. Yeah, June and Samantha had cleared up the table on the games room quite a bit, and she pointed out there was a problem with her light, needed a bit of brute force on it, so I managed to change the bulb, taking the old one out. And right, the tracker showed Robin got back home. Oh, it's been a hard day, hasn't it? Yes, Christmas tree, and charging up one of the 2 batteries for Homer. What are you going to do? He says. I think this is a problem I had getting that photo that June taken off her phone, but eventually managed to sort it out. I think they ended up going through a USB stick. Looks like I'm off down to the village again, so by then it's in the evening, so I'm probably thinking of having something to eat for my evening dinner. So into the middle of the village, past the Comrades Club. Right, is it La Sorrentina or the Flame? Obviously it's the Flame. There we are, picture of Istanbul. So past La Sorrentina, into the Comrades Club again. Duty calls. And yes, there was a lovely conversation. I was called across to another table. You'll see the pictures in a moment. There, Charlie and his friend Ryan. I remember that as Ryan Hare. Sorry about that, Ryan. Right, making my way back home. And it wasn't that late because I thought, oh, there might be some other stuff waiting for me, which I was expecting from some email exchanges earlier. And June's watching whatever it is on the TV. Samantha, 22:10. So wasn't much to be sorted as it turned out. Anybody could see me getting back. Time for bed, and that's the end of the photo trail. Saturday the 13th of December 2025. Look at the size of that hole on the left there which is where the original fan was. And why need 4 fans? 1 fan would have been enough. Stupid boy, as Homer would have said. Duh. Anyhow, into the photos in the order shot. Yes, processing of the video for the day before, the Friday, and making the way out into the garden, whatever that is, 11 o'clock, temperature 6 degrees, not too bad, well above freezing, and usual taking the photos, working my way down the garden to top up the bird feeders, and a record of what it was like on that day. Yeah, lovely blue sky, lots of leaves be cleared up, lots of other work to do. Yeah, it's boring, I know, but it's easy to do. Right, that's an almost empty bird feeder, but it was still there, so I topped it up. And yeah, looking up, still scope for more branches to be cut back and expose more sky and sun. Working my way back up the garden. Yes, June's untidy junk area near the greenhouse. Oh yes, I think I was going to put a bag in the dustbin, so I took the opportunity to recce the side. There's where the dustbins are. And out the front, yeah, rather deflated Homer. And of course the batteries we've been using are not been properly charged up anyhow, but gradually working on him. And yeah, Christmas decorations are real, but that table was beginning to get a bit clear thanks to June and Samantha. That video processing's done. Now that was a project which I realised, to do a neater job of putting those fans in there, I made up that wooden holder, I suppose. But of course the stupid boy had done that before looking, and 1 fan would have been enough. But anyhow, it was better than it was before, which is progress. Looks okay on the closed circuit TV. Yeah, hard work that was, and of course in retrospect how necessary work. And of course it didn't take very many hours and he deflated again because the batteries had gone flat. If I say batteries, only 1 battery. So June found a charger that was in her camper stuff, and that was just the job for charging up those batteries. So it's knowing where things are. Now it looks like I'm deciding to take a walk down into the village and probably to have lunch past Homer. So the battery had been changed, so he was suitably inflated. So down, lovely blue sky, past the Comrades Club, and guess where I'm going? Yes, into the Blend and Brew. So had my lunch there, late lunch perhaps, but very nice. And yes, that fence is still down there on that corner. Into the Comrades Club. Nice relaxing time there. Yes, I'm sure they don't mind that picture. And yeah, snooker was on. I had a bit of a doze. Anyhow, not that long. Oh, you see it's getting dark now. Oh, right. Across, yes, to La Sorrentina. Didn't have arancini, so I had, that's Noah. So I had the, yes, exorbitant prices, aren't they? But worth it. I think he asked for an extra £1 for giving some change to a customer. Looks as though I'm making my way back, forcing myself to go into the Comrades Club again. Yes, well, somebody's got to do it. And relaxing there. Looks like I've decided, perhaps it's time to go back home. It was quite pleasantly dry though. Nippy, but not windy as well. There's deflated Homer outside, but he'll get sorted soon. They're watching something. And of course, being a Saturday night, that was when there was normally a video WhatsApp chat on. But yes, hard work I've had all day. Yes, there's the video WhatsApp chat in the kitchen, and oh, is that me going off down to the Comrades Club again? Could be. Yes. What? I must admit, I did handle an important email when I was back, and so it's good that I did walk back. And but anyhow, yeah, back into the Comrades Club, relax, and I think I was chatting to Charlie on that occasion. Well, there was football on, I seem to recall. Yeah, I think he was supporting Arsenal, who won. Right, past deflated Homer. Practically all the Christmas decorations are up now, I think. But I'm sure there'll be more. Anybody could see where Robin was, including that he got back home. And there's Toady decided to join Robin. Hello, Toady. Yes. So, time for bed. And that's the end of the photo trail. Sunday the 14th of December 2025. Yes, the significant event was clearing the table, the snooker table. June likes to use it as a dining table. Anyhow, into the photos in the order shot, and of course, stupid Robin hadn't realised how small that hole was for the fans for Homer. So, bit of work on that, and batteries going flat, of course, but that's not surprising if it's driving 4 fans. So, Homer's coming along, and of course, doesn't look too bad on the closed circuit TV. You can certainly see people admiring him. Usual routine, going out 11 o'clock in the morning, temperature 8 degrees centigrade, the look of it. Usual routine, checking the garden, if anything's changed. Oh yes, Toady decides to join me. So, making my way down the garden. Usual record of, yes, quite a few leaves to be cleared up. And state of vegetation, including the Gunra manticata. And, yes, down to the seating area. And the bird feeders, they need topping up. Mind you, birds haven't taken as much as they do earlier in the year. So topped them up. Looking up, nice blue sky, lots of scope for more branches to be removed to let more sunlight into that corner. And back up, near the top pond, patio area, lots of tidying up needed there. Into the lounge. Yes, that video is processed for the day before. And look at that, lovely clear table. And June been busy with Samantha. And yes, Toadie's inspecting things, looking out the window. So, yes, that room's getting a little better than it was. Still work to be done. Right, I decided we needed some more power and ordered it from Screwfix at Bracknell because they weren't in stock. They'd taken another day. So that was the black covered wire for typically DC power runs near Did I say Snoopy? No, sorry, Homer. So we're about to go off, and there'll be a photo trail of what the roads are like from here to Bracknell and back. And of course you've got street view, but we're going through South Ascot now, past the Swinley pub, and work going on the Tesco one stop, and carry on past the railway station on the left, past that was the fire station, now through middle of Ascot, yeah, Durning Library on the right and the racecourse, grandstand, police station on the left, Heatherwood Hospital area, which was and is now new building round the back, a load of new housing going up there on the main road to Bracknell. And what's next? Yeah, so some lovely walks through woods and things. Right, Mercedes Garage, been there long enough to be called a landmark, I suppose. Travelodge, right, and the college on the left, the Old Manor pub that I remember from the 60s, and Fenwick, there's a roof garden might be worth checking out. Yeah, some of those buildings, they're new, but they're becoming quite iconic. And yes, I think June made a mistake. Easy to do, because she wasn't mucking about with sat nav, she's just done it off the top of her head. But anyway, we got there okay. I got what I needed, and we're on their way back. There we go, past what was the Met Office. They still call it the Met Office roundabout. Yeah, past pubs, including the Running Horse, know that well. And yeah, so where next? Yeah, back. It's the same route. It's lovely patches of woods and schools, of course. Past the Royal Foresters. And we're coming up towards Ascot now. There's the church on the left. Coming to back down the main high street of Ascot, past the grandstand on the left, and other things, including the library, the fire station. There's the woods. Yes, coming into South Ascot under the railway, past the Swindy pub. Right, and into Armitage Court, and there's Homer on guard duty. So we've got to 22 Armitage Court. Yes, there's a robot boat with Snoopy the Viking at the front. So into the house, and of course the tracker will have shown us getting back. Anybody's interested? There they are. Oh yes, Samantha's working on the printer, because one of the background jobs was the printed newsletter, and of course the printer's quite useful to take a look at your draft copy on paper before one gets it printed out, typically locally. As looking at my tracker, anybody could see where Robin was, but I'm looking at it after the event now. So there's their trip to Bracknell, and June's bit of a detour, but only a minute or two, into Screwfix. So that was good, that's all working. And there's the draft newsletter coming along, and I think they had a problem with no red ink, but it looks as I'm thinking of taking a trip down to the village, probably to eat. So past Homer and the flatulent fairy, and yes, they're not looking too bad. Down into the village, lovely blue skies. Now, where might I be going? Past the Comrades Club, and into the Blend and Brew. Yeah, so enjoy my coffee, cake comes later, and yes, there's a lovely meal, as my usual. So after the Blend and Brew, where next? I probably decided I needed a bit of cash, so walked down over the railway, probably on my way to the cash machine at One Stop, which I think is the nearest one. Yeah, so get my cash, come out there, and then making my way back. And I love that bit of sculpture outside Ascot Locks, seen that a few times. Over the railway, And yes, important feature that of Sunninghill. There's the new Tesco Express, relatively new. There's the Comrades Club, so forced myself to go in the Comrades Club. And enjoyable time there, of course. Yes, that looks like football on. Varied. So, not many snaps there, but that's basically there. And then perhaps time to come back. Yeah, so it's still light, so that looks as though, I don't know, perhaps 4ish, something like that in the afternoon. And yes, it looks like Homer's beginning to look a bit deflated, so perhaps his batteries started to go flat. And yes, anybody could see where Robin was and that he got back home. So yes, and there's the, I was going to say there's the clear snooker table. So what am I looking at now? Probably chose to go down because check that those lights, we've got 3 lights down the end that come on as it gets dark. They're all solar powered, and I had cleaned, I think it was bird feed had got onto them, and they seem to be working. And other lights that come on either as it gets dark or when you move near them. So those all seem to be working okay. So that's, and of course house lights are on as well. Making my way back up and into the games room. Or was that past the games room? I don't know. Yes, I think it was. And not sure whether that was a photo taken by accident or what there. Yes. So that box turned out had, well, not snooker balls, but balls of that type, and had to put them in the right place. So yes, that's working on the newsletter within a ration of photo. Should have been rotated, that, or got rotated by accident, but that's where that box belongs, with in the cupboard. And June pointed out a spelling error, I think, and she's watching whatever that is, probably Antiques Roadshow, and looks as though I'm off to the village again, probably to eat. Yes, it's obviously getting into the evening, so down into the village, past the Comrades Club. How about La Sorrentina? No, perhaps into the Flame, near the Tesco. So into the Flame Kebab. Nice picture of Istanbul. Usual burger, cheeseburger with onions. Then into the Comrades Club, and spend a bit of quality time there, as they say. And looks like I'm on my way home again. Yes, there's Homer, back to 22 Armitage Court, and the Flatulent Fairy. Yes, it's not looking too bad. And yes, lots of Christmas decorations lit up. Oh yes, that fan had arrived, and that was an easy way of doing it. Rather than pulling apart the 4 that we had, put one in to replace it, and I did that today, but it's not on the photo trail. Right, there's Toadie. Time for bed, and that's the end of the photo trail. I warned you they'd be long photo trails. So, yes, glimpse. Lots of junk to be cleared up. Yeah, there's a TV and computer and everything else in there. Coming back into the house because we're going to run into material that was shot, I think it was a couple of years ago, and it was on 2 subjects. global warming and the prophetic words of James Lovelock, and Robin's experiences with the DVLA, Driver Vehicle Licensing Authority. So we'll start from the kitchen here. Yes, memories of Sicily and that trip to Sardinia, that interesting village. Bugger you, yeah. And that older material, it starts from about there, but let me just point out, there's the expensive Renoir, and this is what I'm shooting it on. Right, so that old material starts at about here. Now what I put on the screen, because global warming is rare in itself, it's something that's been on my grumpy page for years. The remarkable James Lovelock, who passed away on the 26th of July, his 103rd birthday. I'll read out what this says here. This has been on the grumpy page for years, not long after the publication of his book, Revenge of Gaia. We can't stop global warming, but we may delay it by a few decades to give us time to prepare for its effects. Vast areas of the world, including as close as continental Europe, becoming arid desert, shrinking of habitable areas of the planet to much smaller parts of the planet, closer to the poles. The Earth will then only be able to support a small fraction of its present population, and there will be a need for massive migration. Places like the UK will remain temperate a little longer, so be an attractive destination. We need all world governments to cooperate to prepare for this inevitability. Also to agree things like reduce use of fossil fuels to give us a few more decades to prepare. And then it goes on. The above is not a quote, but how I remember what James Lovelock said in his book, The Revenge of Gaia, etc. That's been unchanged on my site for years. And right, well, the other thing I should mention, yes, retired, happy and spending that kid's inheritance, is for some time now I've not been able to drive due to, well, several mistakes at the DVLA. And what I will say is that I have new evidence of what happened inside the DVLA, which I won't publish yet because I'm still waiting for the reply to the letter which was delivered by recorded delivery to the head of the DVLA and also other people. So I'll put in at the end of this long video the video that's gone up, me talking about the DVLA, and basically in summary it says I don't want anybody to get into trouble, and that is definitely the case, and resigning is too easy. Problems need to be fixed. But quite honestly, that is a minor thing compared with all the other things that are going on in the world, not least wars, and of course what's in the background and very important is global warming. So let's run into that. Back in 2012.
Seen the launch of a transatlantic sailing attempt this morning in a model boat. Retired NATO scientist Robin Lovelock launched his Snoop Loop from Barton-on-Sea towards the Bahamas. It's already been tested over 5,000 miles on a lake in Berkshire. The model will be steered and tracked through a satellite system and by Snoopy, of course, and it should make the crossing in 6 months, if it survives, that is.
The most important thing of the lot, of course, is Snoopy the Viking, the skipper. I don't think he'd make it otherwise. We've also got another bit and piece here. This is a GPS logger that logs the position every 15 minutes. That was back in 2012. The guy that put this material together, including the live broadcast and what went up on the BBC website, is Ben Moore.
I just worry for Snoopy. Sport now and Hampshire.
Right, on to the next topic. Right. Now, I'm going to do this all in one take. All unrehearsed and unscripted, so sorry about that. What I'd like to happen, if anybody picks up on the DVLA story is, as I say, nobody getting into trouble, and that's a genuine request. But when they find flaws in procedures where they don't cover certain things, be good if those are fixed. What I think would be useful for anybody looking at the DVLA and perhaps helping them is, first of all, their organisation chart showing the structure. Yes, it's well known who the head of the DVLA, remarkable woman, looking at her CV, and relevant to this story is the head of the health part. But it would be very useful to see, even if names aren't attached, obviously the names can be attached where they're public already, is how many people in each branch, how many people are reporting to how many. So a simple tree would help. I suggest that first of all. Then, perhaps even more important, is how many people working for the DVLA, even if you don't identify the individuals, are salaried by the DVLA excuse me, directly, as opposed to contracted through an agency or a business. That is very important, and we've seen what's been happening in places like the NHS for years. So that comes into the equation in terms of whether money is well spent, and of course the DVLA collects a lot of money, and there are probably other things as well. But as a starting point, I'd hope anybody that responds to this, I can't afford to get overloaded, we've got other things to do, many other things to do, and we'll be taking a holiday. That'll be public, yes. I'm tracked everywhere by different things, and in fact, if anybody's paranoid about it, anybody who's tracking somebody or looking at somebody's probably seen already. But at the end of the day, there's me whittering on, which is one of my main weaknesses since I was a little child. That's why if you put things up, clearly be careful what you put up, and often it can do some good. I'm now in the kitchen, and June's rustling up some food in the microwave for Samantha, and here's Samantha, and of course there's tennis on the television, just for a change. So, oh yes, point out, holidays in we're going off to Sicily again soon, and into the hall. Yes, nice expensive paintings here. Yep, expensive little pocket camera, not expensive. And through into the lounge, and oh, looks like I can see a pussycat. Yes, that one's Toadie. What are you doing, Toadie? You checking what I've been doing? Oh dear, looks like I left the tap running. Oh, I better turn that off. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I know. I'm going to rush off down the garden now because I didn't plan it this way. But there we go. Yes, I'd left the tap running. So, no, it hasn't filled this up yet. No worries. So, run back up the garden again. Try not to trip over. Yes. Hello, Toadie. So, as I was about to say, yes, it's quite difficult without a selfie stick or something. So to wrap up this video, it only remains to say, look after yourselves, stay safe, and enjoy what days we have.